I'm really glad to see all of you here gathered at this webinar where we will be discussing the latest Bondix functionality and updates. And for those who don't know me, my name is Evelina Sinkevičiūtė, and I am Operational Marketing Project Manager here at Teltonika Networks. But today in this webinar, I'm not alone. I have my colleague, my presenter from Bondix. So Martin, please introduce yourself.
Hello, thank you for the introduction, Evelina. My name is Martin Samtner. I'm the Director of Sales and Business Development of Bondix, and I will be your host today to give you all the new stuff and news about our joint solution.
Cool. And of course, we also have your colleague Sylvia here. So I also would like to ask her to introduce herself.
Well, thank you for the introduction. Good morning. My name is Sylvia. I'm responsible for all things marketing at Bondix. And if you have any questions, I will be the one who knows everything today. So to a good webinar. Have fun.
Yes, sure. To make it clear, Sylvia will help us during the Q&A session, and she will be responding to your questions on a Q&A window. So just before starting this webinar, I would like to remind you that for the questions, we are using Q&A window that you can find on the top of your screen. So please ask your questions. All of them will be answered and, of course, posted after this webinar in our website. Okay, so let's start this webinar, and I would like to say that the webinar will take around half an hour, and after that, the Q&A session as usual. So I think we are ready to begin. So I would like to start this webinar with a simple question. What does bonding mean? And as our colleagues from Bondix would say, it's a simple aggregation of networks that simply combines two or more LANs or WANs on the routers that were not originally designed to do that into one single network to improve throughput and bandwidth. But actually, do you know what also bonding means? So according to any dictionary in the world, bonding means developing a close and lasting relationship that the key thing is about sharing the same interest and experiences. And actually, this is very symbolic because our partnership with the Bondix is about that. It's about sharing those same interests and the same experience. We both seek reliable, stable, and uninterrupted connection for our end users. But since Teltonika routers does not support bonding functionality as usual, and when Bondix are not manufacturing those routers, so we can offer a combined solutions for marvelous connectivity experiences. And just for the recap, our partnership with Bondix Intelligence started more than a year ago when they reached out us and offered to show their solution on our, at that time, fastest router Routix 12. So actually that router has dual LTE module, and they totally surprised us by showing and demonstrating even higher speeds results than it was able to achieve with its built-in load balancing functionality. So Bondix really showed us how combining those LANs on Routix 12 can reach speeds like never before and ensure that latency even in the most remote areas. So we just started working together and allowing bonding software capabilities at that time on most Routix series devices and on Route 9 series devices. Of course, we also did a joint webinar back then. It was really popular among our audience, actually, and it is very popular right now as well. So If you haven't participated or you want to see that webinar, it's all time accessible on our YouTube channel and in our web in the section past webinar. So I'm highly recommend you to watch it, especially for those who submitted that they never heard about Bondix before during that survey in our chat window. But the main question is about where we are now and why we are still talking about this. And actually, during that year, our partnership evolved. Now, Bondix is software is compatible with all of our Root X series devices that you can find on our portfolio. Also, our customers insisted to be it compatible with our all-time best-selling router Root 240 and its big brother Root 360, and Bondix did that again. And just 1 month ago, we launched our first ever 5G router, Rootix 50. And let me say, Bondix said, yes, sure, it will work on that router as well. So it's really nice how we are going step by step by allowing that bonding functionality on our routers. But more about that, more updates, more functionalities, Martin will tell you today. And I know he will have a special demo for you guys. So I hope you will like it. And I'm not taking any more time here from you, Martin. So please introduce what you have to say for our audience today.
So, Evelina, thank you very much again for that great introduction. Let me now take over the presentation for a couple of minutes. So just give me a second. So, and then let me just just so hopefully everybody can see now my screen. So as usual, I will not bore you down with tons of slides, but we have some nice things to talk about, some great improvements and some new things to come. First of all, Evelina, thank you for introducing and pointing out the new 5G capabilities of the ROTX series, but we already have you covered there. So on our releases page on the Bondix website, we have just introduced and just uploaded the new Bondix Zane client for the ROTX 50. We did our testing successfully over the last couple of weeks. The device works as a charm, like the other devices from Teltonika we are using, and it's now fully capable to be used for bonding with 5G, Ethernet, and Wi-Fi. So you get all the benefits of bonding also now on the ROTX 50. So, but this is not all, because of course we are constantly developing our solution and we want to try to make it better and more feasible for the use cases of our customers. So let me give you a short walkthrough what have changed over the last 12 months. So first of all, we are doing constant improvements of our client and capabilities of our software. When we started in 2021, sorry, together, our bonding throughput was limited to 150 megabit. But by our jointly developing with Teltonika and the excellent hardware base, we are now able to give you 180 megabit of bonding throughput on that specific platform just with a client update. So you do not have to change anything. You do not change your hardware. You just install a new client and you get 20% more throughput. This is what we understand by constant improvement and development of products. So, but it's not only the throughput which is important. We have a lot of customers which are coming to us and say, hey, can you do this or that feature? So one of the first features we have now introduced with a couple of Teltonika partners already worldwide is a so-called Layer 2 tunneling is now available via our aggregated Layer 3 link. I do not want to be very technical here, but it simplifies side-to-side connection for companies. It enables you to benefit from bonding even if you want to use Layer 2 functionalities on each side of the customer. It's now accessible in our client. You can just enable it there. Please also reach out to the Teltonika VIP help desk to configure the proper layer 2 interface on the router, but we are working very closely with the tech team. So we do the bonding part. Teltonika is doing the great support part for the router. So this is a new feature available now in each client. It's still marked as beta because we will add some additional improvements over the next couple of weeks. Then a lot of our customers loved our same graphic monitor, which was available over an additional website. It was a little bit difficult to configure. Now it's fully integrated in the ROTX web interface. You can simply access it by click on the monitor. It shows you in a graphic way the usage of your channels, the latency, if you expect any packet loss, but also the capacity of each link. It's a nice tool to monitor the health of your connection, and it's now directly integrated in the Teltonika web interface, accessible over the monitor button on the right side. Then we also added a ton of new functions in the interface. First of all, yes, we updated to the look and feel of the great new root OS 027 because it gives us a big improvement in terms of functionality, throughput, and also we call it snappiness. Yeah, it was a game changer when we moved from the old root OS to the new one. So we are also now adapted to this new look and feel. What we also have now integrated some very useful functions like bandwidth restrictions. Yeah? So give you an example, you know exactly that you have a connection which has a specific packet loss on a given throughput. You can just limit this connection in the Teltonika interface now a little bit under that maximum throughput, and then you will get a much smoother and much more reliable connection just by setting one value or two values for the upload and the download. And we also added a specific TCP mode, which will help you to reduce packet loss with mobile and unreliable connection. So you can just simply try it out, change the preset of your router in the client, and then you are good to go. And you will see a lot of improvement. In general, the client got more throughput. We have more functions, but the important point is, how can I test it? And here, this is where we made the biggest improvement now, because we added a very one-step easy configuration code, a configuration method for your router, so you can try and test Bondix Sane just by adding one string of numbers. So let me give you a live presentation how it works, how you can enable Bondix on your Teltonika router just with, let's put it, I think it's 3 or 4 steps. Let me share with you my screen and let me show you what is now the new testing infrastructure of Bondix, because you are now able to get your free trial on your ROTX 12 or ROTX 240 or 950, doesn't matter which router you have, just by following those steps, which I will show you now in the next slides. Just I need to switch. Give me a second, guys. So need to switch to another website. Here we are. Okay. So I hope everybody can see and is familiar with the so-called Bondix, with the Teltonika web interface you see here right now. So what we see here is a Teltonika router, which has the Bondix Sane client installed. So you can get all those client releases over our website. You can see here, this is the Bondix website. Just click on releases, click on your Teltonika router, and then pick the corresponding firmware image for your device, install it via the packet manager of the router, and then you get this client available, ready to work on your router. At the moment, of course, we do not have a bonding activated on that router. So our monitor shows emptiness. Yeah? It also says, hey, there is no connection, there is nothing running here. So this is a completely unconfigured device. I'm using this device actually for our call at the moment. So now the website for our trial will be activated, I think, round about 11 o'clock and is accessible over our website. But let's go and just register myself for a free 7-day trial to experience bonding on a Teltonika device. So this is one page where I can register for my demo. I'm just entering my name, put in my company, put in my country, and also put in an email address. So let me just see. Did I have a typo? No, no typo. Okay, let's do sign me up. So I basically signed up on the website. Then you receive a confirmation email. It will give you again the hint how to install the client on your specific router if you haven't done it yet. But the next easy step is just click on the sign me up button. And now your Bondix trial is already activated. This is the so-called connection code you need. So I copy that text. I go back to my Teltonika router. I choose connection code as a configuration. Then I just copy and paste that code into that window. I'm pressing save and apply. And of course, we will now see, I think, a second interruption of my connection because the router will then establish the bonded connection. So don't be irritated if I be gone for a second or two. But already now you are connected. You have now a bonded router. The router is running with 2 links. We are connected. Bonding is working. You have now a 7-day trial with our demo server. You can test it. You can really put load on the connection. You can really see that the Teltonika will be able to achieve the 180 megabit. And just to give you a hint, other vendors, which I do not want to name, will charge you a couple of €1,000 to get a device which is not even able to reach the throughput of the Teltonika router in combination with Bondix. So just follow those 3 easy steps to be able to start your trial now. So let me just go back one page again, guys. Let me just quit. Here we are. So as I mentioned, improved throughput, improved functionality. Now we have the option to do your free trial. But that's not all. We also are constantly working on our licensing system and on our business model. So let me also share with you our new licensing model, because we also learned that not one size fits all. Evelina already pointed out that we have those really high volume but a little bit lower throughput devices like the ROT240 or the 360 and 950. And especially for those devices, we have now created different SANE licenses. So you're all well familiar with the SANE Enterprise license. This is the license for the ROTX 50 ROTX series router, which can give you up to 200 megabit. And I can make you one promise. Over the next couple of months, we are very, very, very sure that we will be able to reach also the 200 megabit on the ROTX series routers with one of our upcoming updates. So I have a high support for our development team and a big trust into their capabilities. But what makes it even more important, we have now specific tiers for the little bit lower powered device. So The RTX 240 is a very, very cost-effective device used in IoT scenarios and other scenarios. So here, the bonding throughput, of course, is not comparable to the big ones, like the RTX or the 950. But for those devices, we have now made a specific license which gives you up to 10 megabit bonding throughput, but is also only a quarter of the license fee, like the big license for the RTX 12. And we also now care about the middle tier, which we call the ROT 360, 950, 955. Also the 951 and 956. There will be a client release in the next couple of days for those platforms too. Here we can reach something between 50 to 75 megabit, depending on the device and on the type of connection. And again, no comparable product in the market in that pricing range, which can even come close to the capabilities to this device. So I think the new license model will also help you to position the bonding solution much better with your customers. We have now a package for each use case, and so everything what you saw here, like all the links, to all pages, our new Teltonika branded flyer, and our subscription to our newsletter will be available in the chat. Sylvia will also post the links there, and the demo, 7-day free Bondix Sane demo, will be activated, I think, round about 11:30. Then you can go to our homepage and test the crap out of our servers. So this is from my side everything for now. Evelina, you can take over, please.
Yeah, so thank you, Martin, very much for your informative presentation. I think it was really nice and clear. And just about the timing, we are doing this webinar at 11 a.m. plus 3 GMT time zone. So Martin is living in a different country, so
Germany,
they are
sorry.
1 hour before. So I think it will be live at 12 p.m. at this time zone. We are doing this webinar, just for letting you know. And I'm coming back a little bit to present more. Okay, so we just stopped there, and Martin presented many things about Bondix. And there is nothing more illustrating here at our sphere than use cases, than client success stories. And actually, we have a very fresh one from our partners in the UK. They submitted their use case through our website on a Share Your Solution page. So here as well, I'm really engaging you to submit your success stories as well on our website. We will be glad to present them. We will be glad to post them on social media and to our use case channel. But let's talk about this use case. It's a very important one because both Teltonika Root X12 router and Bondix were selected to provide a smooth live stream for water ski competition this summer, actually in the UK. And basically, we know that live streams are one of those key areas where Teltonika routers and Bondix can show tremendous functionality. But at the same time, those live streaming solutions are very complex ones, so they face many challenges, and I think it's really important to discuss them at first. So first of all, those live streaming solutions, it's very challenging itself because they requires high bandwidth, speed, and smoothness. So, and again, it becomes even more complicated when a specific locations brings even more challenges to that table. So firstly, our client needed a pop-up solution, which means that everything needs to be set up without complaints for a specific date, specific time, no lags and anything. Again, also water ski competition was happening in very remote area in Coastwald, UK. I hope I pronounce it right. So we know that those rural areas do not come with a friendly high speeds. And the last challenge of this particular location was there was no on-site internet. So the client needed a high, robust, reliable, pop-up network connectivity that he done with the Teltonika routers and Bondix. And I want to show you this photo. So as you can see here, we are seeing several lakes and many green space around it. So that was the place where live streaming went very well. So just for you to know, no on-site internet, many lakes, this is how the location looked like. And from that connectivity perspective, our client also faced many challenges. It's, of course, poor internet coverage. So it means you need to use at least two carriers for a failover to ensure that uninterrupted live stream. It was really important not only for the people who watch that live stream, but of course also for the judges, because when it's sport competition, you need to be very precise to give those points for the winners. So judges room needed to get that live stream very reliable as well. And again, probably we already know that live streaming needs to transfer those big amount of data for a good quality content and of course pleasant watching experience. So now I think it's the great time to look how those challenges were beaten, I would say. So here we can see the topology where the RootX12 and the Bondix were at the center of the solution. So, but let's speak about everything from the beginning. So as we can see in this topology, the participants were going side by side until the first loss, and they were filmed by using multiple cameras from different angles. So all the cameras were connected via Ethernet cable for a special to a special PC, which was needed to make a preview and the mix of that video production. So basically it means to add those participant names, speed information, and any other information that is normally shown at the streams of the sports events. And then the final mix of the video productions goes through the video encoding device, which converts video into data. And that encoding device was connected to our Root X12 cellular router, which was simultaneously operating on two Cat6 modems to send that data over the live stream. So also the router used two SIM cards at this solution with the two different carriers, and to the WAN port of this router, Starlink was also connected. And as we can see in this solution, both cellular and Starlink networks were aggregated by Bondix and pushed through the same server for broadcast to Vimeo and to the judges' room. So all of the solution ensured a smooth upload that wasn't interrupted at any time. And actually, our client didn't share with us what speeds they achieved, but I think, Martin, you could guess something or count some things, right?
So at least what we see out there. So thank you first of all, Evelina, again for this really good description of the setup. And I think you already made probably to the point. So what you see out there in the field, most of you can agree with me. If you are using LTE or 4, 5G or LTE connections, you normally get a decent or okayish downstream, but you have a much lower upstream. And when you look at this setup here, the key was to get a reliable high bandwidth upstream, which could not be delivered by a single link. Just to give you an idea, I think around about a constant upstream of about 40 to 50 megabit was possible here. And if you just if you just remember that if you do a speed test with your mobile phone on a cell tower and you get 200 megabit down, you mainly get only 20 up, and you are looking for upstream here. So by combining the LTE with the Starlink, we were able to ensure high quality, full HD or even 4K. I was not aware, but Alex Bird, who did this, is already part in this presentation. So I saw him in the participants list, and I'm quite sure that he will be happy to answer all your questions. Just reach out to him over LinkedIn or touch base with Evelina to get a little bit more information how he solved the issue. HD, not 4K. Thank you,
Yeah.
Alex. Great. So,
Okay, so here is the result. Actually, I wanted to show you it's like almost 4 hours of live streaming without a hassle. So actually, I'm not engaging you to watch it all, except you would like to do that. That's a lot, 4 hours of water ski event. But actually, I wanted to illustrate the final result of what our client Alex achieved by using Rootix 12 router, and it's really nice. Um, to sum up here, I think working in a tandem Bondix and Teltonika routers, it was achieved stable and seamless data transmission, robust internet speed at all time at this pop-up solution, with the result of no delays, no interrupts, and of course, it ensured and guaranteed a smooth watching experience. So that was the most important thing of this success case. And just before moving to that Q&A session, I just wanted to say that more webinars, more use cases are coming from this partnership for sure. I would like to tell you a little secret, me and Martin keeping. Uh, we are planning a new joint webinar maybe next month, so I highly engage you to subscribe our newsletters, Teltonika Networks newsletter, to get those invitations for the webinars. To be the first to register and participate, because more nice things are coming. And I think that's enough time for us to speak here at this webinar. Let's head to our Q&A session. And again, I want to remind we're using Q&A window you can find on the top of your screen in the main bar of the Teams environment. It will be easy for us to follow those questions. Okay, I'm opening the window. So Martin, probably I will read the questions and I will try to answer, or I will pass those questions to you. And we have one question from Tadas: how Starlink was connected to the Rootix 12. It was connected by using Ethernet cable to the wide area network
port
interface.
of the router. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just commenting to not lost in that answer. Okay, maybe we will see more questions. If you cannot find those Q&A bar, you can drop your question in the chat as well. We will see it for sure.
Probably, Evelina, we probably explained it too good, and we do not have a lot of questions here. But what I learned from our last webinar, probably there will be a summary of all questions and Q&A afterwards available by Teltonika, correct? We had this the last time too.
Yes, we're answering all the questions after and posting it to the webinar page we are creating. And we have one question: is it possible to have ports opened and forward to the router? So maybe you have the comment on this, Martin?
So basically, of course, so one important thing you need to understand: every function the Teltonika router gives you out of the box, out of the factory, is still available to you. So give you an example: if you want to use a VPN, just use the built-in VPN functionality of the Teltonika router. If you want to do some port forwarding, yes, of course, you can do it on the router, because if it's necessary. But of course, you might need to do it on the server side too. Yeah? This could be necessary depending on which ports you are using. We are happy to support you. We are just building up our wiki for that. There are the commands how you can configure this on the server too. But I think the best point to understand it here, it will basically, all the functions you are used to have with the Teltonika, with the great operating system, will still function with the Bondix add-on.
Okay, thank you, Martin. We are also having the question about Rootix 50. Is it single or dual modem? So it has the single modem. I also can drop you a link to the data sheet of this document for easier finding more information. Just doing that right now.
So for the RTX 50, I have to say the 5G modem is great, gives a lot of throughput. Of course, we do not have a second modem built in, but you can also add the additional Teltonika. I think it's the TR65 or something, the modem, the 5G modem, and connect it to the RTX 50, or you connect another Teltonika router to the WAN port to add multiple connections. So what is also possible using an RTX 50 and connecting an RTX 8 or 9 or 11 to the WAN port with an LTE modem, and then you have two mobile connections. Or you choose one of the great Teltonika modems, which are available separately. So it's your choice. You can just combine each device with each other.
Okay, there is a question about if we use together with non-compatible router together, will that occur any problem or needs for additional settings?
No, as you can also, if you add another router over the WAN port, it's just recognized like an Ethernet connection, basically. You do not need any software on it. As long as this connection is able to access the internet, you will be able to use that connection. Yeah, of course, it works the best if you are using, for example, the Teltonika RTX 12, if you want to bond two LTEs, because then SANE can work with the LTEs in the most efficient way. If you just add another LTE via Ethernet, you maybe lose something like 3 to 4% of the bandwidth, but you can just connect it.
Mm-hmm. And also in the chat window, there is a few questions, and I think there's one very interesting one from our guest. How about the server side? Is there a separate service or extra cost? It's about Bondix, I guess.
So I think this is the most unique feature of our solution. We always deliver you the server image for self-hosting. You can fire up your own SANE server, which is already included in the license in about its 4 steps in our server manual. The only thing you need is a virtual machine, something running like Ubuntu or any Linux operating system. You follow an easy 3-step manual, and then you are good to go. So the server side is always included in the license. We are not providing you the server backend, because what we learned that you as a partner and reseller mostly know exactly what you need in terms of the server, and you can just configure it on your own and set it up on your own. But we also have partners worldwide which are offering those servers as a service. Please reach out to us over our website, so we can connect you to a bonding service provider in your area if you want to have that as a service. But in general, it's always included in your license.
Okay. And of course, I think the Bondix solution sounds really good, but the people are asking how many milliseconds of delay is added when Bondix is connected. So I think it's really important to discuss this.
So of course, if you add another hop in your infrastructure, it will add a little bit of latency. All our measurements we are doing at the moment. So for example, when I can speak for myself, I'm using LTE and I'm using Ethernet together bonded with an RTX 12, because I'm living in rural Germany, and internet, it's not a very common stuff here, because we are still a little bit in the Stone Age. So in general, it adds about 8 to 10 milliseconds, which is negligible in terms of latency. Yeah? Of course, it depends a bit where your server is located. So if you are in Africa and your server is in Europe and you want to access content in Africa, it will add additional latency, because your traffic will be routed over Europe. This is why I would always recommend to set up your server locally or work with a local bonding service provider.
Okay. And also, there is a question, as you can change LAN ports to WAN ports, can you go beyond 4 links in total? For example, RTX 12 plus 3 WAN ports and Wi-Fi, total of 6 links.
So in general, we limited it in terms of, just to understand, if you do bonding, and if you with the number of links you're adding a lot more complexity to the mix. of course, we found out that 4 links is just the golden the golden middle where it works perfectly on the RTX 12. This is why we are now limited it to 4 links at the moment, which you can use at the same time. You can add more links anyway, but you can only select 4 of them for the bonding, because when you add more links than 4, the complexity increases dramatically, and this will also reduce the theoretical throughput because you're adding more problems in general. But for scenarios where you need more than 4 links at the same time, we offer a specific license for that. Get in touch with our sales team and we can make you a specific quote. But what we learned so far outside in the world, 4 links is normally have you covered in 99.99% of the cases.
Okay, that's nice. There was also a question about, is there any plans for a X4 SIM Teltonika with bonding for the UK? So I asked the person, Patrick, to specify the question. Is he talking about the router with the 4 SIM slots or what? Because I cannot answer from this short comment. And also there is one question, I think the last one for today's webinar. How does Bondix deal with multi-network SIMs which are set to auto? Will they have jitter issues as it moves between different networks?
Okay, let me try. So again, all the modem steering, the steering of the SIMs are done by the by the root OS. So everything what works without our bonding works exactly the same way with our bonding. So we are not influencing anything about the in terms of the login of the SIMs, of the dial-in, of the APN, or of the network you have chosen. Let me just check what we have here. Which other? No, okay, and of course, what is the important point? Since we are doing real aggregation, and if SIMs are connecting and reconnecting, the reason why you use bonding just to eliminate all kind of jitter and unreliable connection. So long story short, if you have 3 SIMs which are each SIM is not reliable in general, but by combining 3 unreliable connections, you get a reliable connection out of it, because they will not interfere or jitter at the same millisecond if they're on multiple networks. So, but this is what you should test yourself, of course.
Okay, so I think that's almost all questions we have answered. Just to make it clear, we will post this webinar recording to our YouTube channel, to our website, and of course, all the Q&A session will be down there for you to read and ask the questions if you have more. So, Martin, thank you for being here with me today. It was a pleasure to host this webinar together with you. And I hope you guys also enjoyed that this time together. And I hope you to see in the following webinars too.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me, Evelina, and looking forward to our upcoming webinars. Thanks everyone for joining, and I'm looking forward to have a chat with all of you as soon as possible.
Okay, so have a great day. Bye.
Bye.